Yo, what is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am Brandon Mullen. Over there, it's the con man, Connor Bergen.
Good to be with you, Brandon.
What up? And with us, we have a special guest all the way from the southern hemisphere. Wish he were from New Zealand, but only Australia. It is Adrian Bernecich. Adrian, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. Sorry to disappoint you. Yes, from the bigger island, but yeah, all good.
It's just that, those who may know, I spent a little bit of time in New Zealand, and New Zealand definitely has like a little brother syndrome to Australia. So I like getting my digs in wherever I can.
Is that like the US to Canada? Canada's the big brother?
Oh, I honestly, I wish Canada were the big brother. I want Canada to be the big brother. It is actually a lot like Portland and Seattle, though, where Portland has like a complex about Seattle being bigger and more metropolitan and international and whatnot. But
Portland has a complex. Seattle, I feel like, has been carrying that beef and trying to give us the little bro syndrome. I like Seattle. I just want to make that clear.
I do too. Yeah, I'm pro Seattle.
Adrian, I also I take great pride in knowing that you're the only person from Australia that I know, and you are Blazers Edge, their official Australian correspondent, which you're celebrating. I want to hype this up on the show. 10 years providing
thank you.
Insights and analysis of Blazers Edge.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I'm the only Australian because no one else bothered to do anything. So it's really kind of by default. I didn't have to fight any other Australians to get the job. So no.
Well, yeah, we're glad to have you aboard. And as many people know, Adrian does his Saturday columns on Blazers Edge. They've been a mainstay for as long as I've been at the site. We're going to dive into two of those columns that he's wrote recently, one on Tiago Splitter, the other on the reemergence of Jerami Grant. But first, we're going to... Yes, Adrian's very excited. And Adrian's taking a bit of a victory lap on Jerami Grant after 6 games, which we will give him his time.
I was going to withhold my comments, but I'll just say first off, 7-game sample size, we'll get to it. But sure, yeah, go ahead and take a victory lap.
I acknowledge that as well.
Okay.
But it's kind of a bummer because if we had hosted this podcast 24 hours ago, I feel like the vibes would be much rosier, much higher. Blazers were coming off the weekend with their best win of the season, a thrilling 109-107 win over the Denver Nuggets. And then they just laid an egg last night against the Luka-less, LeBron-less, Austin Reeves-less Los Angeles Lakers. But
DeAndre Ayton full.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton. Wow. Maybe
former number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, he showed his lottery pick pedigree. And yeah, they took it to him. It was kind of like when the Blazers had Kelvin Blevins that one year with the tank squad, and they beat the Lakers. They kind of got their revenge 4 years later. So just starting off, Adrian, what was your impressions and takeaways from that game?
Well, you buried the lead a bit, and I know that you didn't do it knowingly because you mentioned him last night, but Nick Smith became Yogi Ferrell 2.0. Just unstoppable, couldn't be stopped. Rui Hachimura couldn't be stopped. I can't believe I would ever say those words out loud. And DeAndre Ayton played his game of the year. So, yeah, it wasn't fun. It really wasn't fun. I think I switched it off with about 2 minutes to go because I knew they weren't coming back from that. And I know that's really poor form of me to say that, but it was in the middle of a public holiday here in Australia and I had better things to do.
Well, just so you know, you weren't alone because that's when about everybody in the Moda Center headed for the exits, right about 2 minutes.
And guys, we got our flu and COVID vaccines yesterday, and I was feeling like garbage. I didn't really catch much of that game at all. I have a question, though, and this is to either Adrian or Connor. But, okay, so they had a bad game, and they lost to a team that had, none of their best players. Isn't this just something that happens in the NBA? Aren't there just games that you just don't feel it, and you're just not playing that well? And, I mean, are we really... Connor, you said the vibes aren't good anymore. What planet are you on? Who cares?
No, not horrible. Let me amend that. Not horrible vibes, but just a dip in vibes. We went from the moon to it's a little lower than the moon.
Yeah, I think you've had the polar opposites. So the Nuggets game was amazing, and then they've just gone and dropped an egg against the LeBron-less, Austin Reeves-less, Luka Doncic-less Lakers. I don't mind them. I agree with you, Brandon. I don't mind them losing a game like this. It's when these games become the norm. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out.
I think that's fair. I have a hot take for both of you. I'm glad they lost this game. Because listen, this team was getting too big for its britches. This is not a great team, guys. Like, I don't care if the fact that you don't have Blake Wesley and Matisse Thybulle, if that means it really hits your rotation, you don't have a great team. And so to me, I'm saying this kind of tongue in cheek, but I'm half serious. This isn't a great team. This Blazers team can be interesting. It can be feisty. Dare I say it could be good. Does anyone really think this is a great team? And so I don't know, like, to your point, Adrian, like, you don't want to see a pattern of this, and especially as we're evaluating Tiago Splitter, whether or not he's actually a good coach, which I think we're going to talk about. I think it's not only is it fine, I think it's, like, good, like, temper the expectations, like, get a bad loss under your belt. That's my hot take, is I'm glad that it happened.
Yeah, they hadn't really had – there was, like, a honeymoon phase after believe it or not, after all the off-the-court stuff. They were 4-2.
What off the court stuff?
We spent a whole pod. I'm already tired. But
we'll get used to it because it's not going away.
Yeah, it's going to keep coming. But yeah, I think it does kind of recalibrate expectations a little bit for how excited Blazers fans were getting. And to your point about like Blake Wesley, Matisse Thybulle, if those guys are down and that's such a big blow, like that's not a good sign. But this Blazers team it's kind of unique because of this play style that they're doing, where they're going 10 deep. They need everybody. They need all 10 men, and it's like you replace those minutes from Matisse Thybulle and Blake Wesley, who are just like defensive ball hawking, like fit everything they're trying to do, and you replace them with two-way contract players. Which, no offense to Caleb Love and Sidi Sissoko, but like it's just obviously a drop in quality. So it's kind of an unusual situation where the Blazers have pretty solid depth this season, but if like one or two guys go, it's a much bigger problem than normal.
They also had Nick Smith do something that he has never done and probably will never do again, and that needs to be factored in here. I mean, what happened to Yogi Ferrell after that game in 2018? Like he fell off the face of the earth. Whether Nick Smith becomes an all-star, I doubt it, but that was phenomenal. Like he didn't miss.
Yeah,
and I think that needs to be factored in.
Yeah, to your point, I did turn to my right during the game and ask another media member, "Who is that?" When Nick Smith was scoring, I was like, "I don't know."
Smith.
Obviously NBA player, you got to respect everybody. Like, but even Tiago Splitter in the post game, he didn't mean anything bad by this, but he was like, what's his name? Nick Smith was like amazing. No, and like he gave him great respect, but it just showed like they didn't probably expect that. He hadn't played the last two games for the Lakers. Yeah. He's on a two-way contract. He'd only played twice this season before. So truly like a pretty cool story even though it's a Lakers player. He was getting praise from Drew Holiday, from Splitter. He hit the back-to-back threes that like slammed the door shut in the fourth quarter. So 25 from Nick Smith is not gonna be a recipe for winning for the Blazers.
How did totally separate topic? By the way, congrats Nick Smith. Like you get your buckets. How does Robert Williams look moving around? Like, again, I didn't watch the game yesterday. Spoiler alert. How does he look?
Adrian, you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty good to me. Like, that's the thing with Rob. He looks really good until he does his knee, which is really unfortunate. But when he's on the court, he's bouncing around. He's such an intelligent basketball player. He knows where to be. and with that athleticism, it just him being healthy the past 3 years would have made this team completely different. It probably would have impacted their ability to tank, and he probably would have been playing elsewhere if he was. But he's such an amazingly talented, cerebral basketball player when he's on the court. But yeah, he looks like Robert Williams.
Yeah, Tiago mentioned he's still getting his rhythm back a little bit on defense, and like his minutes are, I think he played like 12 minutes the last 2 games, so they can't depend on him. Excuse me, they can't depend on him a ton yet, but when he does get in there, he is effective.
Like just if he looks okay physically, I wouldn't mind just seeing him always playing like only 15 minutes when you really need him, right? And if it so happens he can stay healthy the whole year, and if it so happens that this team has something to play for near the end of the year, which very much remains to be seen, I think that would be good enough for me. Like, it's not like he has to play a ton to be impactful. It would be nice, but at this point, given his history, not going to count on it. But good, glad that he looked okay. That's good to hear.
And I do want to say, if there's a silver lining to this game, nobody outside of Denny really played good. Denny had 33. He was kind of keeping them in it in the fourth, but Shaedon Sharpe, he had I think 23 points, but he's had some questionable shot selection. He was 1 of 7 from 3. Jerami Grant was fine with 18 points, but outside of that, Donovan Clingan put up kind of a no-show against DA. Toumani Camara started the game hot, then he cooled off a lot. Drew Holiday, who's been the calming, steady presence when things have gotten tough in some games, really struggled to shoot the ball. And then on top of that, their defense just did not bail them out this game. I kept thinking they were going to go on a run and start to throttle this Lakers kind of B team. And the more the game went, the more it just fizzled out. And they were forcing turnovers in the first half. They only forced 6 in the second, and the Lakers scored 38 and 39 in the third and fourth quarter.
Connor, do you think that the win against the Nuggets made them a little complacent, made them kind of take their eye off the prize against who they thought might be a pretty easy Lakers team without their stars?
Yeah, I asked Tiago about that. Not about the Nuggets one, but I said, with Luka and LeBron out, do you think it factored into the team's energy? And he said, hopefully not. I was afraid of that, but you can't have that. Drew Holiday didn't seem to really believe that. Chris Murray didn't believe that. They all thought their focus, at least Drew and Chris thought their energy and focus were there. Just something was a bit off. Which is why you don't want to, as Brandon pointed out, overreact to one game. So, I don't think they were still doing the ball pressure. They still had some of those steals, but it just wasn't sustained the whole game. Brandon, you had a point?
And I know that we have specific topics to hit on today, and I want to respect that, but I have one more kind of non sequitur point to make, because you mentioned earlier Drew Holiday's been a steadying presence, and he wasn't that against the Lakers. Again, I didn't see the game yesterday, but another hot take, I've not been a fan of how quickly Drew Holiday is willing to just pull up from deep. And again, I didn't see him play last night. I can do a little box score scouting and note that it appears as though he took 6 threes and made 0 of them. But the games I've watched him play, there are times that he will get the ball with 19 seconds left on the shot clock and then just pull. And sometimes they go in. But even when they go in, I'm like, is that really what we want? And I'm just curious if either of you two, if you agree or disagree on that. He needs to be a threat, and I respect that. And he also, on this team, as opposed to a contending Celtics team, he has the space and the permission to do more of that. And so I don't begrudge him that, really. But it just seems like he seems to be very hot to trot to pull on those deep shots. And when I see 0 for 6, it gets me thinking more.
There was a late game, early shot clock air ball last night that made me think that exactly. I guess no one else was hitting shots, so somebody had to take it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that's definitely the case.
I've been seeing fans get upset about this exact thing, not with Drew specifically, but just this team shoots so many threes, and I think that's Tiago's. It sounds like what Tiago did in Paris. That's like the system that they're trying to do, and people are pointing out that they're not a great 3-point shooting team. So I think days when it's working, it looks really good. But the last 2 games, they just have not. It just has really emphasized how little shooting they have.
Interesting. I mean, what would that? Okay, I'm just making stuff up. What would that be replaced by? Like again, like I know the Blazers are not going to be offensive juggernauts. I know that I get that, and so I guess if it's there, go ahead and do it. But just I don't know where I'm going with this. I wanted to get that out. Again, I saw the box score, the little box score peering, and just wanted to get that take out. So that's it.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to also force the issue a little bit on a team that he knows is struggling to score. So it makes sense to me why he's shooting more. I guess I'm not mad at it, but
I'm furious, Connor. Absolutely, totally beside myself. No, just kidding.
I'm gonna let him know. I'm like, hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon Mullen, We Like the Blazers, is not happy with your shot selection.
Next time you have media availability, definitely use it to mention my name and how upset I am that Drew Holiday's taking too many threes. Actually, don't do that. Okay, thanks.
But yeah, Blazers, best win of the season, followed up by worst loss of the season. The games are going to keep going. They play the Oklahoma City Thunder on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. But still 4-3. Still, as Brandon mentioned, vibes are not dead. Things are okay, and I think we can move on to our next topic of Adrian's column of the new man in charge on the sidelines, Tiago Splitter. Adrian did a analysis going over Tiago's career as a player and then over his career as a coach. And just I almost called you Tiago. Adrian, what was your big takeaway? Yeah, what was your takeaway from that article and the research you did?
My takeaway is that he looks like a Bond villain.
Yeah, he does.
I spoke to my wife and I said, so this is the new coach, and she's like, oh, he's attractive. So that was ways. I mean, a big 6'11" Brazilian. Unlike Billups, he's had a lot of experience and he's done it from the ground up. He started as a coach in Brooklyn, working under Kenny Atkinson in development, and has really worked his way up and done it the hard way. Obviously, he was with the Rockets a couple of years ago and then got the job in Paris, replacing, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, Thomas Yosolo, I think, who's the Memphis coach with Paris, and took them straight to the title. In that piece, I did a lot of small sampling, and again, I apologize for that, but I did see a lot of, from what I saw in the 2 games after he took over, was a lot of ball movement, a lot of passing, a lot of giving up a good shot for a great shot. And it reminded me so much of those early Spurs teams where Tiago obviously was part of a championship team. And no, this is not a championship team, but it did make
hold on a second.
The way the ball moved, it was really pleasing to watch. We definitely didn't see that last night because we lost to the Lakers. Well, they lost to the Lakers without those big names, but I think he's trying to instill a selfless offensive game while kind of keeping the Billups defensive mindset. I shouldn't say his name, but Billups defensive mindset on the other end of the court. So, look, you're right. They don't have the offensive players right now to play like those Spurs teams did 11 years ago, but I can see what he's trying to do, and it is objectively attractive basketball to watch. And obviously, it's a brand new system this team is playing, so we'll see whether it actually works out over a longer period of time. We have no idea how long Splitter is going to be coach, whether he gets the job long term, whether I doubt Chauncey comes back, but whether it's someone else. Obviously, with there's new ownership coming in, they might want to make their mark on the franchise. But right now, it's probably the best we could have hoped for as far as an offensive type of a scheme, if that makes sense.
I did mention I wouldn't call it a column, but a short little piece that I wrote that if you could learn coaching by osmosis, because to your point, Tiago Splitter played under Greg Popovich, that Tiago Splitter might just be the Rick Adelman of Phil Jackson's. And hey, it's good to know. It's like, yes, like he wasn't a coach with the Spurs, but yeah, like I reckon that you do learn something especially from someone as great a coach as Greg Popovich. Here's a question. How, like, Blazers have had this like relatively hot start, had this dud against the Lakers. Okay, we're a very small number of games in. How long do you think it takes to do like an effective evaluation on a coach? Because part of what we've heard, I think, from maybe not even directly, but like indirectly from the Blazers front office about, well, Chauncey Billups like really deserves a chance to like coach his own team, right? And like, Dame got injured, right? Like he deserves another year, and so we got to give him more time. Like, how much time do you want to see Splitter coaching before you can start making some like reasonably well-informed judgments about how good of a coach he really is?
I'm not going to give him 4 years. So
probably smart. Seems like a long time, but
seems like a long time, especially when look, Chauncey didn't have the cattle to execute over his first 4 years.
Just give him one more year. Sorry.
I mean, again, look, if Tiago is still the coach, he said it in one of his press conferences. He's not sure, but he thinks in a couple of months he has a better idea of how this team should be playing. I'd be willing to give him until the deadline to really give him an evaluation. Again, he might not even be coach at the deadline. I have no idea. This is one of the most unique situations with Chauncey.
It might be, dare I say, unprecedented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I'm willing to give him to the deadline, and look, perhaps even the end of the regular season. But this is just random because who knows what happens when Dundon comes in? He might come and make decisions straight away, and Tiago's gone, and someone else is in. Like, it's just not only has Billups happened, but Billups has happened as the team is being sold. Like, it's really, really, really tricky to kind of look into the future.
It's a weird, yeah.
I think though he talked about like in 2 months he'll know kind of more what imprint he wants to put on the team, but he also talked about how he came in to implement this offense. So like this is kind of his brainchild already. This like 10-man deep rotation. One of the most interesting things is the rotations he does and how short they are. It's almost like hockey substitutions. 10 players played in the first quarter the other day, and I think that's been true for every game so far. And it was kind of like, after Blake and Matisse are gone, are you going to keep doing that? And he said, he just was like, yes. Like, it sounds like he has a system. No matter who is out or whatever, like the game plan is to stick to this fast-paced system, and it does for a team that can't shoot super well and a team that's prioritized on defense. It does seem to fit them well. That it's almost like masking their issues by just trying to play with so much pace.
Mm. But you can't have players running up and down the court like they do and not getting a break. So the style of game demands respite for these players who are picking up full court. Like it is pretty crazy.
It reminds me, and because this is definitely the same as playing in the NBA, but when I was in middle school, and that's how you know it's going to be a really solid analysis, guys. Brandon's talking about middle school basketball. Actually, no, freshman year. Sorry. It was kind of like our coach was like one of these guys who was like really like barking at you, like I don't know. I think he's more of a football guy, honestly, than a basketball guy. And he's like, Brandon, I just want you to run as hard as you can. And if you get tired in like 30 seconds, like ask for a sub, and then I'll get you right back in. And so we would have these crazy substitutions. It's because you'd be going balls out and hyperventilating, like hitting the inhaler on the sideline and then getting back in the game. Obviously, there are a lot of reasons why that doesn't work in the NBA, and especially in an 82-game season. But I don't know. Like it's interesting. It's interesting.
They're giving it a try.
It'll be interesting. Oh, sorry, Connor.
Oh, I just was going to say that he seems undeterred by the two injuries. There were several questions. There were several questions last night that were like, "Are you going to change this? Maybe is it sustainable?" And he was like, "No, yeah, like we'll find out. We're going to keep doing it."
Yeah. If more players go down, though, you have to wonder whether he tapers back just a little bit because you can't really. Like the backcourt the backcourt right now, unfortunately, is Drew, Shaden, and Caleb Love. So I don't know.
Yikes.
Adrian, you talked a lot about also in that piece Tiago's demeanor and kind of his experience with the Spurs, and then he talked about it some when he was coaching in Paris about managing egos, and his demeanor has been sticking out to me so far, and especially with this kind of weird, hectic situation. He seems like a very calming and like commanding presence to step into the leadership vacuum that's been left by Chauncey. I've been enjoying his press conferences so far. The first one, he was taking like really slow pauses to answer questions, and at first I was like, "Oh, this is awkward." He's struggling to like figure out what to say in this crazy situation, and then through each press conference, I'm learning more that that's just kind of how he operates. He takes pauses. He can clearly like is thinking about what he wants to say, and the players have already talked about this. Drew called him stoic. And then Matisse turned over and was like, "That's a good description for him."
He's plotting how he's going to capture Mr. Bond. Like that's all part of.
And he's been getting more intense. I've been hearing, and like Chris Murray called him a voice of reason. So it seems like personality-wise, he's the ideal guy and leader to kind of keep things afloat and keep everybody engaged for this bizarre situation.
And Connor, you probably see him. You obviously see him more than I do. Do you think there's a language barrier as well? Given obviously English isn't his first language, do you think he's also kind of battling with the fact that he's trying to find the right words in English?
Definitely
as well.
Yep. That has crossed my mind, and it's something that's crossed my mind more than the Blazers are so international that. It's come up with several players where they're trying to find the words. So I think that is partially why he takes kind of slower to answer his questions too.
That's what my thought. Obviously he's not a rah-rah type coach, and in that piece talk about he liking no egos, which does kind of harken back to those Spurs teams as well. But I think you're probably right. I think it's a mixture of everything. I think it's the language, he's obviously got confidence in what he does as well. When you've got confidence in what you do, you don't need to get all rah-rah. You've obviously got a goal there. But I think for me, looking from the outside, it looks like a combination of all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a calm intensity.
Yeah, brooding.
But we will now move to the third topic. I think we've covered Tiago enough. Jerami Grant and Adrian.
Oh boy.
20 seconds.
Here we go. Got Jerami Grant Stan over here.
I'm going to count it down to 20 seconds. No, Brandon, I'm happy you're razzing him because that that headline I read, I said, this guy, I like Adrian. Adrian, everybody had an original. I'll tell people. He wrote a headline for his Jerami Grant piece that initially said, "I told you so" about Jerami Grant, and I was like, man, I like Adrian, but if I didn't
fully support, and whatever editor decided to nix that headline was dead wrong. Dead wrong. I wonder who that was.
I very rarely use my editorial powers in such a way, but I
got his pen out and went.
I messaged Adrian too, man to man. That's
So I was asleep and it went live before I woke up.
Oh, there we go. He messaged Adrian. He said, "Adrian, I'm going to make your headline much less interesting. Are you cool with that?" And then what I had to do, I was kidding.
That's my leadership style, okay? Man-to-man communication, okay?
Conflict avoidant. We love it. It's very Portland of you.
No, that's conflict non-avoidant. I could have just said it and said nothing.
That's true. That's a good point.
I will say I brought receipts. I did bring receipts in that piece for those who read it, because in 3 different articles over the past 12 months, I have said I'm not worried about Jerami. He will bounce back, and I made sure to include those lines in that column. But I'm not going to wax lyrical. I'm sorry, Brandon. All I will say is I think a lot of people were jumping off Jerami after a bad season, and that's what it was, a bad season.
Sure, okay, and a bad season, sample size last year of 47 games, which, by the way, I forgot that he only played 47 games. In fact, has played no more than 63 games in each of his years in Portland, which
he doesn't play much in April.
Which is weird. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I wonder why. But sure, he had a bad year. Let me repeat that. He had a bad year. How many games? I'm sorry. How many games have we played so far? 1, 2. I could almost count on one hand. If I had 2 extra fingers, I could count on one hand. 7 games. My thing is, Adrian, and listen, I'm upset with you for writing this. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at here. I'm upset with you. I think it was irresponsible. And what can you tell in 7 games? Really, what can you tell in 7 games? You tell me.
A bad year is, I need to be specific. He had a bad year shooting 2-pointers last year. He was fine from 3, and he was still really good on defense. But when it probably looks worse when you're failing to hit 2-pointers. I think his field goal percentage was lower than his 3-point percentage last season, which is awful.
That is very hard to do.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, I think he ranked 151st among bigs in effective field goal, 149th among bigs in points per shot attempt. Those 2 rankings are in the top 10 right now. I think he's first or second in 3-point shooting among bigs. I know it's 7 games, right? It's 7 games, but if he'd been playing like he was last year in those 7 games, I would be deeply, deeply worried. I probably there was a bit of hyperbole in that column, but if he'd started those 7 games, if he'd started those 7 games the way he was playing last year, then I mean, he'd be buried at the back of the bench, and they wouldn't be able to move him or do anything with him.
So then my question is, I'm just, Joe Schmo reading Adrian's angles.
No, you're Brandon. You're a very important.
Oh, wow. Oh, very important. Yes, very important human over here. The question is, why? Is it just, I think the case you're making is look, he's just returning closer to his career averages as a starter. Fair. Also, he's coming off the bench. Does that have anything to do with it? No. No. Is it okay, that fine? Or perhaps, and we're not psychologists and we're not talking to the guy, but was there if you play more engaged, it'll be easier to trade you, right? He gave some maybe overly honest comments, during media day about didn't expect to still be on the team. And so that does pop into my head, right? If he's showcasing himself.
What I spoke about in the piece was, and I kind of attributed this links back to the Splitter piece. He's the number of shots he's taking that are unguarded have doubled. So because of this new system, He's getting a lot more open shots. Again, I'm not a professional basketball player, but I can only imagine more open shots, ball goes in, makes you feel good, that kind of thing. To the bench side of it, he's playing 30 odd minutes a night. He's playing against starting units. Obviously, Shaden comes off at the 9 or the 8 minute mark, and Jerami comes in. Jerami is still playing against first units. The whole bench thing, I think, is it's a nice excuse for people to make, but I don't think it's the reason. He's finishing games. I mean, he's finishing games as the 5 in a lot of cases when they don't play clean. So I don't think coming off the bench is a legitimate reason. But look, I'm happy to be proven wrong on that.
I do think whether it's because, like, to your point, he's still going against first units, so it's not like he's going out like playing better against lower competition or any of that. But it does seem that he has been re-engaged, whether it's because of the demotion to the bench, whether it's because he talked about in media day that the team is more focused on winning and he's more focused on, like, they're more aligned on that. But it does seem, or he's here for 3 seasons, they couldn't trade him, and he kind of realizes, if I do want to go somewhere else, I'm going to have to play better. These are all just possibilities. Maybe it's a combination of all 3. But there does seem to be like an intensity that he has brought back to the game. That first game against Minnesota, he just looked fired up. He was like roaring after making baseline threes. He's dunking. He's attacking the rim. He's doing less of like the Jerami Grant kind of like groan-inducing mid-range shots that people got tired of. He's really just
making them as well. When he takes them, he makes them as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and like you need a little bit of that. Like the mid-range doesn't need to be banished from all society. But it's just his aggression has stood out to me, and his intensity has also stood out. And also, Brandon, we talked about this last year. We had a theory that when there's one of DeAndre Ayton or Anthony Simons or Jerami Grant in the game, it feels a lot better. Whether compared to like all 3 of them are taking all the shots and dominating kind of the ball, it's kind of like, okay, like can we not do this? Right now they need Jerami Grant's offense. Like he's kind of like an oasis at times of like, oh, thank God Jerami Grant's shooting a 3. Like it's just a better.
He's not the mirage of water in the desert. He's actually water. You're like, whoa! I can't even believe it. Real water there.
He's probably not as tired either, because when you've got Anthony Simons and DeAndre Ayton in the game, they're not really playing defense, and so his workload on that end of the court is lessened because you've got all these amazing defenders around him. So you don't. He's taking point of attack assignments, and he probably shouldn't have been last season.
I have a quick interesting stat because Connor, you mentioned dunks, and so I went to our good friends at Basketball Reference. Jerami Grant is taking a higher percentage of his shots as dunks this season than when he was with the Nuggets. So that was like 6 years ago. Nearly 10% of his shots are dunks, which is more than double last year. So, which again passes the eye test. And that's great.
Stat work. Great.
Thank you.
Stat work,
yes.
Brandon.
Again, Basketball Reference is great. The dude still can't rebound or doesn't want to rebound. Yeah. What is the deal with that? Like, I don't understand. He's long. He's big. I've been trying. There have been games when I've been like, I am just going to watch Jerami Grant. I'm going to figure out, like, why isn't this dude rebounding? Very weird, but whatever. He's not
the perfect player. Like, he's far from it, and he is not a very.
I don't know. It's just, I mean, to the point about why people were maybe so quick to start piling on him, especially last year. It wasn't just that he wasn't playing well, but like the style of play and the types of shots and the fact that he doesn't get rebounds. It's like, I don't know. Like, is it all just engagement and motivation? Probably not. Like, but it's just, anyway, yeah.
Look, the rebounding thing is confounding. It's confounding because I have no idea why he doesn't put. He's long, he's athletic, he seems to have a good idea of where to be. I don't understand it either. I'd be the first to acknowledge that.
So I will say I'm gonna contradict myself, and I will just say that like this version of Jerami Grant is an interesting player that helps a team, and like leaving his contract aside, also not a terrible fit on this Blazers team. Like he brings some stuff that they sometimes need, and it's been good to see. You want to see your players succeed, and so I have nothing against Jerami Grant. I just wanted to give Adrian some shit. But
fair enough.
So
does.
hopefully it continues.
Well, I think in this victory lap that we're taking, it's always important to point out the caveats, and that he is not, he's kind of like a flawed player in certain ways.
I have one more question for Adrian on this, and not that we don't have to stop there, but and I'm sorry that I should have done my research. Actually, I usually read your stuff. I didn't read this article. That's my bad. Do you think what you've seen so far, the way that he's doing what he's doing, is it sustainable?
I don't see why it couldn't be. Again, but I didn't see the downturn happening last year. So my answer is I don't see why, but again, anything's possible.
Fair.
And honestly, as much as I do appreciate him as a player, I hope that he plays well enough for long enough so they can move him for something positive. And that's to clean up. I mean, the books are looking pretty good, but if they can move his deal and have Drew being the only really big deal on the books, then they're in a pretty good spot.
That I can agree with. We love you, Jeremy. Please leave. Just kidding. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm so anti-Jerami Grant today. I'm in a bad mood.
That's all right. You had your COVID and flu shot. You're dealing with
It's even this amount of energy is a marvel. I will say that.
I have been actually impressed. You were talking how you were feeling down, and I was like, hey, he's still bringing it. The energy.
Connor, once the bright lights of the We Like the Blazers podcast click on, it's all business on this end. Yeah.
Well, should we wrap it up there, gentlemen? Any final thoughts that Adrian, while you're here, did you anything dying to get off your chest about this Blazers team?
I hope they put up a fight against the Thunder. The road trip should be interesting to see how they actually go on an extended road trip. And I want to beat Miami. I think Miami is the team I want to beat the most after the past couple of years. So beat Miami.
Every time we can make Pat Riley cry, it's a good day. Really quick on the Thunder game. Again, I'm not trying to extrapolate out of what would be a 2-game sample, but what I'm most interested in is how a team like the Blazers responds to a game like they had against the Lakers. It's not about having a bad game. It's about how you respond to it. I think it's the same thing at Tiago Splitter as a coach. I mean, it's one thing to oh, wow, we're winning these games and playing these really good teams close. And oh my gosh, we beat the Nuggets. It's another thing when it's whoa, we played really bad and we lost to a team that over an 82-game season would win single-digit numbers of games probably with the lineup they trotted out there. I mean, that's a little harsh, but whatever. So I'm interested to see how they play against the Thunder. The problem, of course, is that the Thunder is a very good team. So, it's,
out the frying pan into the fire kind of situation.
And this will be a perfect game for me to not skip watching the game because I think it will really be in what you see and less about whether they win or lose, less about the box score and more about how it looks. I think it will be an interesting test. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time they're facing on-court adversity this season with the injuries and then the first bad loss. How does this team respond? And
it'd be a game with the Blake and Matisse would be great to have as well with all the guard.
Oh my God, yes.
So it'll be interesting how they deal with that.
All right, quick betting lines because sports betting is a great thing for us to lean very heavily into, especially at this time. How many times is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting to the line against the Blazers? That's my question.
Ooh.
How many free throw shots, or how many times is he being fouled?
How many free throw shots? How many free throws is he shooting?
20?
I was gonna say 16. This is like the perfect game. This is the perfect team to play for a foul baiter with how aggressive the Blazers are.
Yeah.
Get ready for some city minutes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm worried about. We'll see. Anyway, yeah. Well, anything else? What a great awkward ending. That's it. Adrian, you got anything else?
It's been a pleasure, guys. It really has.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, why don't we do the thing? We haven't had a guest in a while. Do that thing that they do that when people guest on a podcast and they're like, "Where do we find your stuff, man?" Like, do one of those.
You find me at Blazers Edge.
There we go.
The column comes every Saturday for you, Sunday for me, and Twitter, Blue Sky, all the things, and yeah.
Find him there, and you can also find us there. You can check us out at WeLikeTheBlazers.com. We're getting out, Connor. Sorry if you had anything else. We're done.
Nope, no, I'm ready.
Find us at WeLikeTheBlazers.com. You can also find us on any podcatcher. Also, find us on YouTube. We have been trying to lean more heavily into the video because I've been told that's what kids do is they watch the video on the phone. So we appreciate you. Thank you. And Adrian, thanks for coming on. We'll have you on again. Until next time, go Blazers.